Hello and welcome into another pregame show. Jets, Jags here in week 15. Matt O'Leary alongside Connor Long. Connor, how's it going, my friend? How are you?
Matt, I'm doing okay. The toilet bowl, Matt, the tank bowl, whatever you want to call it, is this week's game. Jets versus Jaguars. Jets are 3-10. It's an absolute mess. We saw what happened last Sunday, the overtime loss. And my concern right now, Matt, I want to get your thoughts on this, is that Aaron Rodgers keeps up and he's able to throw, for 300 yards, 280 these next few games. And maybe, Bates Woody Johnson into possibly bringing him back next season. And that, if you bring Aaron Rodgers back next season, that just makes for even more cap hell, so to speak. So I think the main thing is you play competent football these next few weeks, but you can't have Aaron Rodgers come back next season. I think that's my bottom line for these final games.
Yeah, I hate to, I'm going to say hate to say it because I feel like most fans, not all, but there's
Yeah.
a large chunk of fans who are in on the tank right now and want to see the Jets lose out. I'm letting you know right now, prepare for a Jets win today. I think
Oh,
this is lining up for a New York Jets victory. As you pointed out, the tank bowl or toilet bowl, whatever you want to call it
yeah.
for today. Um, Look, it's two really rough teams out there. Both teams a little bit banged up, but this just feels like, at least to me, feels like a game that they find a way to win ugly.
Yeah, I mean, they're on the road. I think there's a chance. Jacksonville's terrible, especially with Mac Jones starting. Matt, I don't know if you saw the stat, though, from Rich Samini earlier today. Mac Jones, 5-0 in his
Sure.
career against the Jets. Is he going to keep it going? 6-0 last time the Jets beat the Jags, 2012. I'm still rooting for wins. I've made that abundantly clear, Matt. I think you're on board with me from last we spoke. So I'm rooting for wins. I hope the Jets go out, show some good football. Want to see the young stars shine like we saw last week. More of Isaiah Davis. Qantas Stiggers is going to get his first start this week with, a lot the secondary being very banged up. Sauce Gardner, he's going to play today though. So, a lot of moving pieces, so to speak, from an injury standpoint. So I just want to see the young stars go out and play, give us something to watch, come away with a win. And, Jeff Ulbricht's second win as his head coach of this team, as the head coach of this team.
There you go. I think one of the big storylines today that we're going to get into, I'm sure, Breece Hall playing in this game. Wanted to see what your thoughts are on Breece being active today after inactive last week and seemed to be banged up throughout most of this week as well.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. Great question there, Matt. I guess my thoughts right now with Breece is it depends where the Jets stand with him from a contractual standpoint because he is a second-round pick. The Jets do not have a fifth-year option on him, unlike Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, and Garrett Wilson, who most likely they will pick up all three of those fifth-year options once the season comes to a close. So, my thing is why risk him getting injured? The season is all but over. You have Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, who I think have shown flashes when they've gotten opportunities with this team. Why play Breece? What is the positive? Unless, obviously we have him for next season, but if you think he still hasn't potentially earned a contract extension after next season, or you're still thinking about what you want to do with him, maybe you trade him sometime next year. That's something to keep an eye on. You're just trying to get as much value as you possibly can for him. If I'm the Jets, though, I'm shutting Breece down for the rest of the season. There's no positive that comes out of him playing with this team officially eliminated from playoff contention.
I feel the exact same way. I just don't know what you're gaining from tossing him
Yep.
out here
Mm-hmm.
banged up the last 4 weeks. I don't think you're doing him any favors. And I'm a Breece Hall guy. I don't want the Jets to trade Breece Hall. I think with how it is right now in the NFL, you let it play out in year 4. And with the running back franchise tag being in a spot where it is, I think I'd feel more than comfortable franchise tagging him in 2026. I guess that would be.
Yeah.
So that's the route I would go. I don't think it's wise to move on from him. I thought he played well the last 5 games or so that he featured in. He was right around 5 yards a carry. So I still think he's a really solid player. I know he didn't have the year that maybe some were anticipating from him, but the Jets just struggle so much to put up points
Yeah.
offensively. I don't want to give up or sell low maybe on one of their better offensive players.
Yeah, what I think the Jets do with him there, Matt, you kind of brought it up, the long-term solution, whether it's a franchise tag. I think the Jets franchise tag him after next season and then reevaluate for an extension. Because right now, I'd say I want to get your thoughts here too, Matt. The only guy I'd pay from that class today is Garrett Wilson. And I think if I were to pay him, it would be similar to Devonta Smith. What did he get? Like 3 for 75, 3 for 78, something like that. That's what I'd give Garrett Wilson right now. I think Sauce still needs to prove that he could bounce back. Obviously, he had the 2 All-Pro seasons to start his career, but after a rough season, he needs to show he could bounce back. Breece, as a running back, still hasn't shown me enough really to earn this long-term extension. And then as for JJ, he's shown us he has a ton of upside, but I think the new regime is going to have to evaluate him at the end of next season how he looks coming off a really rough Achilles tear, which he suffered week 2 in Tennessee. So right now, Garrett's the only one I would pay. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the money that Garrett Wilson's going to yield is somewhere around the Devonta Smith extension or Jalen Waddle, which I believe is right around 28 million. Maybe with inflation, it gets up to 30. I'd be comfortable giving him the $30 million over, I would go 4 years, even if it's like 4 for
wow.
Whatever. I'm one on the field. I think he's an extremely talented, proven number 1 wide receiver. But the second thing too is that's the exact kind of guy that I want to build my team around. I think he has the perfect personality. You look at a lot of these wide receivers around the league, and unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, a lot of them, they have a little bit of an ego and maybe a little bit of a diva. I don't feel that way at all about Garrett Wilson. I get he's frustrated and he wears his heart on his sleeve, and at times has shown that frustration. But I think he always says the right things. Great kid, great head on his shoulders. I would love to reward him with a contract extension. He would be the first one that I would pay. For the rest of the class, I just said, how I would approach Breece Hall. Let year 4 play out. You could franchise tag him. You could franchise and extend him. You could even tack on a couple of extra years, maybe a 2-year extension after the 4th year of his rookie deal. However you want to approach it. I don't think you necessarily have to rush into that one. Sauce, I think you wait till year 4. Obviously, you're picking up his 5th-year option, but then you wait until see if he bounces back next year. I'm confident that he does. So then I would do his contract after next year. And for me, I know JJ is a little bit of a hot button issue. Do you give him the 5th-year option? What do you do? I would bet on it and give him that 5th-year option. Clearly, you don't need to extend him after this year. Kind of the same thing with Sauce. You let next year play out and see where he stands after 2025. So that's how I would treat the Jets class from the 2022 draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Matt, a few more nuggets here before we get into really, focusing in on today's game. Jets announced the first 2 interviews they're going to have for the GM position: John Robinson, former GM of the Tennessee Titans, and Louis Riddick, current ESPN analyst. Never been a GM in his career. He has 13 years of front office experience, all of which come in the scouting and the personnel side of things. Thoughts on these 2 interviews? I'll let you go here first. I have an interesting stance on both these guys.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't love either of those 2 candidates. I think it started okay for in Tennessee, but the last few drafts at the end of his tenure really give me some pause. He has a great record, which I guess, like, as Jeff fans, like, we can't turn our nose up on guys who are coming in with a winning record at least. But I'm not going to lie to you. I think the last couple drafts, because he was let go after 22, correct?
Let me pull it up. I know he's 20 games over 500. He was let go after the 2022 draft, what turned out to be a mess. I mean, Treylon Burks was their first round pick. And I guess, well, you mentioned there, his first drafts were great. I have it right here. First draft was Jeffrey Simmons, A.J. Brown were his first 2 picks. And then, Corey Davis was a first round pick. Harold Landry, he had in the 2nd round in 2016, he had Jack Conklin in the 1st round. So he had a great start, like you mentioned there, to his tenure. And he has a great record, I think, over around 18 or 20 games over 500. But he needs to show me first that he can draft consistently, because the team right now is not about winning games. It's about, first off, getting the right people in here, and then also drafting the franchise quarterback. And then that's kind of, well, do you use a bridge quarterback in Tyrod Taylor? If I'm the Jets, I think you got to get a quarterback in here, whether it's, if you want to draft a guy, I'm okay with it, but I don't want him to start right away. But back to my point about Robinson, I guess, is he needs to show me he could be more consistent in his drafts. And also, he's one of the least analytical GMs when there was a survey done in 2021 surrounding the people within the people who worked for him, below him in the front office, and they said he's one of the least analytical GMs, which I don't think bodes well for the Jets job. So I'm not a huge fan of Robinson, and get your thoughts about Reddick.
Yeah, and just to close on Robinson,
Yeah.
last 3 first-rounders that he took, Isaiah Wilson, who
3
was
snaps.
a massive bust, Caleb Farley in the first round didn't really work out, and Treylon Burks in the first round.
Yep.
Obviously, so 0 for 3 on the last 3. Riddick, I don't know. He's been away from the NFL for a little while. I'm not saying that like he's still, he's not up on it. Clearly, he still is, working for ESPN. He said some things about the New York Jets in a negative light this year, and maybe it's, Aaron Rodgers based, and that's fine. I know not everyone likes Aaron Rodgers, but I would just be surprised if the Jets ended up hiring him after some of his opinions going into the year on the 2024 Jets. So he also isn't one of my favorites. He worked he worked for the Eagles on some, on some good teams, but I don't think he's really moving the needle a ton for me either.
Yeah, like you mentioned there, I don't really like either of these guys. And as for Robinson, one more note, him and Vrabel kind of had a falling out in Tennessee. And Vrabel's one thing is, if I'm going to come here, I need to approve of the GM hire. So if you get Robinson, you're not getting Vrabel. So
No.
Yeah, so I'm steering clear of John Robinson, I guess is the right word, this offseason. And same with Reddick. He's been out of the front office for way too long, and he's never been a GM in his career.
Yeah, I'm with you on both those guys. Hopefully that's not who ends up being hired. But as I saw on Twitter, a lot of people were saying like, hey, like you got to start somewhere on this search. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to hire one of these 2 guys.
And then one more thing here, Matt. Is there anyone you're gonna want to avoid, steer clear of in free agency, whether it's at the head coach position or the general manager position?
Yeah, the former Colts GM, his name is escaping me right now. Give me a second, because he was a name that was brought up.
Is it Grigson's from Minnesota?
No, I think it was Grigson.
Yeah, it is Grigson. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was with Minnesota too. He's currently with Minnesota. That's what I was thinking.
Right.
Yeah, you put a video out on him not too long ago.
I did. Yes. Now this is another one. Finished with a record over 500, 49-31 in 5 years as the Colts GM. Went 11-5 his first 3 years there, but the reason why I would avoid him is I think the reason why Andrew Luck ended up retiring early was because of his inability to build out an offensive line. It took way too long for him in order to get one. And, I just think that is something the Jets need to be better at, fixing they're almost there on the offensive line. I feel good about 4 of their 5 pieces going forward, but I think they need to build better in the trenches. I think that's something Douglas ended up failing at because of how long it took him to get the offensive line right, and then how he kind of dismantled the defensive line. So yeah, he would be a name that I would avoid, I think, personally.
Yeah, I completely understand that. That's a name that's been floating around, and you've publicly said it on your Twitter, and then obviously, like I mentioned, you put out a video on it not too long ago. I don't really have anyone in specific at the general manager position, but at the head coaching job, someone's name who gets floated around for a second stint as a head coach is Steve Spagnuolo. And if I'm the Jets, you have to go as far away as possible from Spags. A 1-15 season with the Rams, a 2-14 season. I think he won about five or six games as a head coach in his career when he was with the Rams. He's a defensive mind, and I don't think he deserves another opportunity as a head coach in this league, and especially with the Jets. So I'm getting as far away as possible from Spags.
I don't blame you on that one. I think some guys are just coordinators at this level. I think he has a great situation in Kansas City. I don't see him leaving. I think he's got a perfect spot there.
Yeah, 10-38 is his record as a head coach in his career. So you got to get as far away as possible from a guy like Spagnuolo, especially since he's a defensive mind as well. And the Jets are looking to really, find offensive stability for the first time. And now it's creeping up on over a decade, because if you consider the 2015 fifth season, but I believe Mark Sanchez is the only quarterback to start on opening day, the first game of the season, 4 years in a row for the Jets. That's still crazy to think. But Matt, you have a super chat. You ready to bring it up?
Yeah, we'll do super chat and then get into the calls here. Let's go to Jacob first on the super chat. Appreciate the support. You two are awesome. Thanks for sticking with us this season and keeping the content going.
Appreciate you, Jacob.
I and many others appreciate it. It'll be interesting to see what the off season brings. Jacob, really appreciate the super chat and the support. It's tough when you get to this point, like doing the pregame, like preview videos or the live stream in the pregame, like it's hard. And not many people want to talk about the games, but as Jacob brings up, huge offseason for the Jets. GM, coach, potential quarterback too. 3 super important things for team building. So curious how they go.
Yeah, absolutely, Jacob. Appreciate the $10, and we appreciate all of the support, and thank you for sticking with us. All the diehards are still here despite the horrific record.
Absolutely. You ready to get to the calls?
Let's do it, Matt.
All right, let's go out to our guy, Doug, who is in bed, not on the couch. We got to move him back to his home base.
The last episode when I guest host, not today. Not today.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, what is that? So after this, 3 shows away after after today, 3 shows away from the week 18.
Today's going to be the last Jets win of the season. That's my take, because I think we're going to lose to the Rangers, lose to the Bills, and lose to the Dolphins again at home. So today, or the only other game I would see us winning is the Dolphins at home, because the Dolphins in cold weather would not be great. But this is our last definite 100% win, I think.
You view it as 100%, Doug?
Nothing's 100%, but I would put it like a 99%. I don't.
Okay.
I think we're better than Jaguars. I know we're bad, but like the Jaguars are worse.
If they don't get ahead early, I think things can get ugly. I think they need to get ahead early and more importantly, maintain the lead.
But also, like, excuse my language, who gives a shit? Like, who cares? Like also, what sucks because the 1 p.m. slate today is terrible. With the 4 o'clock slate is like the best 4 o'clock slate in a really long time.
You got the Bills Lions game. I'm watching that. Yeah.
Colts Broncos. You have Eagles Steelers. The afternoon slate is great today. Late afternoon slate. So, but yeah, we're the sickos who are gonna stick through and watch this Jets Jaguars game and tweet about it and all that jazz and whatnot. Yeah. Playing devil's advocate for Louis Riddick, I'm not saying they should hire him, but like just playing devil's advocate, he hasn't been a GM before. John Lynch wasn't a GM before. Look how good John Lynch has been. So that's just playing devil's advocate for Louis Riddick on the whole being a GM thing.
Yeah, I think it does help too that he's on TV talking about the league every day in the morning. Get Up, obviously, First Take. He appears on those shows a lot, so I definitely think that's benefit. I'm not concerned about his knowledge. I'm just concerned of him being out of the league for such a long time and not being a general manager. I understand your argument, but still, he's been out of the league for over a decade.
And I wasn't saying you should hire him. That was just like my devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Well, John Lynch has been, but that's just you shouldn't just dismiss him because he hasn't been a GM.
No, there's going to be a lot of guys. When all's said and done, I think
I'll do it. You know what, Jets? I'll be the next GM. Do I know anything about it? No. I'll do it.
It's okay.
I'll do it. How much worse could I have been in the last few GMs? You know. I'm convinced I'd be better than John Idzik.
Oh yeah.
It'd be hard to do worse. I think, unfortunately, Idzik in 2013 and 2014 put a couple back-to-back stinkers.
I just hire really good people all around me and be like, hey, guys, you guys know this stuff. And then when it comes to draft stuff, okay, who we drafted. I'd always just go best player available at that point and then hope for the best.
Now, Doug, would you be more of a talent evaluator or a cap guy?
I think talent evaluator because I'm not great with money. So I'd definitely be a talent evaluator.
That's okay. You could hire someone to help with the cap.
I'd be a cap guy 1,000%.
I could hire a guy who's a cap star. Hey, you tell me when I'm going over budget, when I'm effing this up. See, that's why baseball GM, like I'd be better at it because there is no cap and just spend.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you like a bandwagon Warriors fan? How are you a Warriors fan?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm a Nets fan.
Oh, you're tweeting by the trade go. I was like, wait, are you a bandwagon Warriors fan?
Oh, no. I'm a Nets fan. But Dennis Schroeder did get traded to the Warriors yesterday. Yeah. So
no, yeah, again, like, do we even really care about this game? Like, it should be a red zone day. I'll have red zone on one screen and the game on the other, but like, who cares? Who cares? I know that's bleak, but this, and also I feel like this is the 4th offseason in a row we're saying this is the most important offseason in Jets history.
Yeah.
You're gonna win it again. Win the offseason.
Who cares? Win in the regular season.
It's gonna be interesting though, Matt. 'Cause obviously you've covered the team longer than me. This is my first full season covering them on YouTube, and then from a writing standpoint as well. Like, I don't know how to really cover a team now in the off season that doesn't have high expectations, because I
Don't worry
started
about it.
covering them.
That'll be better because you can make more content. Hey, we sucked
Yeah.
last year. This is how we can't suck this year. Off season content is where the Jets content makers go off, because that's when we get the stuff, and it's the most positive vibes. And then we get all stupid because you think, oh man, we actually have a good team. Like, look how we're really good training camp. Yeah, we're gonna be good. And then week 1 rolls around and you're like, this team effing sucks. We're gonna go through the same thing again. We can never enjoy happiness. We should have followed the signs. We are doomed forever until Joe Namath dies. We're never gonna win.
So they are. You agree with Rodgers? The Jets are cursed.
There's either they're cursed or all the fans are cursed. Like, what did we do in a past life to deserve it? Like, was I some terrible serial killer in a past life and they said, no, what is a punishment? You're going to be a Jets fan and you're never going to see success. It's just you're going to get that 2010 AFC Championship game. So after that, you're never going to see success.
Yeah.
Like, if I go back in time, I'd go back to that fourth quarter, somehow find a way to get to Rex Ryan and say, hey, right now they are throwing the ball. They're not going to run the ball. They will throw the ball.
Yep.
And they will, because Matt, you and I both know if they were able to get the ball back, they were going to score.
Yeah, probably.
Because they had scored 17 unanswered at that point.
Yep. They probably would have scored. You're right.
And I'm convinced, because I remember the Jets played the Packers earlier that year in a game. It was like 9-6. Like, it was
on Halloween.
Yeah, I'm convinced we would have beaten the Packers in the Super Bowl.
What could have and probably should have been.
And now
never forget.
Now we're never gonna get there. And I just can't just enjoy life as a sports fan. Like, why does it have to be so hard?
Yeah, I mean, my question is, do you guys think I'll ever see a playoff game until I'm a legal adult? Because I'm 13. I'm 13 right now.
13, God, you're young. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
Really? I just don't see a way. If they don't hit on the quarterback
in 5 years.
In 5 years, I feel if we get the coach and GM right, it could. I know that's a big if. It could turn around next year.
Yeah, but that's a big if. Getting the coach.
It's a big if, but 5 years is a long time. We could, not to be bleak, but we could all be dead in 5 years.
Exactly. That's a long time. I don't want to think about, what is that, 2029?
That's the year I'm graduating high school.
I think about where I was 5 years ago. I'm not even the same person I was 5 years ago. 5 years is a long time. In 5 years, I'll be 32. That's gross. That's gross.
I think if they don't hit on the quarterback, then I won't see one. I think they need to hit on
okay. So I know we don't want to get into draft talk right now, because I mean, what else is there to talk about though? Unless we somehow fall to one or two, I would say, I think in this draft, I would prefer Cam Ward slightly over Shedeur, just because of all the stuff that Shedeur brings with being Shedeur Sanders. Fair. If he wasn't Shedeur Sanders, I would love it, but like, I don't think we need all the distractions of having. And Shedeur is a really good quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. I just think the Jets don't need all the outside distractions of having Shedeur Sanders as the quarterback. You know?
Yeah, Matt. What are your thoughts there?
No, I agree with you. I like Cam Ward more than Shedeur, especially for the Jets. Apparently, though, the Giants are really high on Cam Ward too. So I think it would be tough for the Jets to land him unless they get up to the number 1 pick.
Like, I agreed with you on your mock draft that you had. I'm team Mason Graham right now.
Same here.
Yep.
And then, or if you get higher, just take the best player available. So, like, if you get up to like 3, 4, or 5,
McMillan, the wide receiver.
McMillan or Abdul Carter would be then my choice after that.
Will Johnson's another good one if they want to go quarterback.
Yeah. And then I agree with you on the tight end route. I'm in round 2 or whenever you can get him. Or Tyler Warren or Harold Fannin Jr.
I love my dream is Tyler Warren somehow makes it to the Jets at the top of the second round. I think he probably goes round 1, but
a lot of people
would love to grab him.
A lot of people didn't watch him because he went to Bowling Green, but Harold Fannin's also a
monster. Now, Matt and Doug, you mentioned wanting the tight end there in the second round. Let's say the Jets go Mason Graham, Abdul Carter, McMillan, Will Johnson, whoever it is, one of those bigger names in the first round. I know the Jets' second round pick is kind of at the top of the order. Excuse me. Who are you taking? Are you taking Warren or Jalen Milroe? Keep in mind the Jets haven't drafted a quarterback yet.
TBD. I also like next year's quarterback class a lot better.
Yeah, I would take
especially with Nussmeier coming back, and
and the Aller potentially.
Yes, I think Aller might stay another year because
he's 20. Yeah, he's 20.
I feel like people are probably giving him another advice of Nussmeier, like, hey, you could go out this year and be second round pick, but if you stay and come back next year, you're going to be a first round pick.
Yeah,
because next year then the class would be Arch, Nico, Drew, Nussmeier.
Yeah, but Arch still hasn't put anything on tape. That's the thing.
Yeah, so like even and if you see the reports, he's going to be the starter next year because and Quinn Ewers is going to potentially transfer out of Texas, and everyone thinks he's going to go to Oregon, and then they're handing the keys to Arch.
There's still an option though. I don't think I think there's a chance that he doesn't come out next year because he still has the option to stay in school. So what next year? He has the option to stay in school for the 2026 season, and if he's not like absolutely incredible in his first year starting, I don't see a reason for him to come out really.
Yeah, I would rather Alar than Milrow at the top of the
second. I agree with you. And you said it perfectly when you were on with Jake the other day. People get turned off because, Penn State quarterback. Last time we did
Hackenberg,
was Hackenberg. But him and Hackenberg and Aller are two completely different profiles.
Completely different.
In reverse. Like Hackenberg, if you look at Hackenberg, he was great his freshman year, and then every year since
worse.
Aller has gotten better, and he has better size than Hackenberg, and he has a better arm, and he's more mobile.
He also only has a draftable tight end. He doesn't have any draftable receivers. It's not like he's surrounded by the best weapons in all of college football.
I mean, what's his face? Fleming's not bad, but yeah, no, Penn State's more on their defense.
But. For example, I'm a Colorado fan. I'm not like a diehard Colorado fan. I follow the team. I watch a few games a season. But Shedeur Sanders has some of the best weapons in all of college football. LeJohntay Wester, Travis Hunter, Will Shepard, all these guys, compared to someone like Aller who's putting up these substantial numbers with one of the worst not worst, but a bottom tier supporting cast in college football. So I think that's there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, it's interesting. So people think I'm weird because I'm a Duke fan for college sports. That was my dreams growing up, and I'm a Duke football fan. Like the guy who just transferred, Malik Murphy, he'll probably be a draft prospect next year. So it's interesting. I don't know. Again, like I said, main point is the Jets. Who gives a shit about today? There will be a football game against two of the worst teams in the NFL.
One team will win.
You know what? It's gonna be a tie.
I'll take it.
I'm ready for a tie. I just want
tie.
That would just be the most entertaining way for this game to happen.
That would be funny.
Right? Tie would be the best way for this game to go, no?
A Jets versus Jaguars tie.
And the Jaguars will be fullbacks uniform, so at least it won't be an ugly jersey matchup today.
True.
Yeah. I wonder when the last time the Jets have had a tie.
Been a long time.
Imposing, but are inactives and actives out yet? I feel
yes.
Yeah, we're gonna go to
what a good
Corley's inactive. Oh my God!
I'm surprised he was inactive last week.
I don't know.
We played this game last week.
Connor, I don't think you really are a Jets fan because that's common Jets. Come on, Connor. We all knew that was going to happen.
I thought they would activate him.
That was going to happen, right?
I don't know. I thought they were going to throw him out there. Maybe.
No.
I know they elevated Kuntz, but with Conklin out, you could use another pass catcher.
Tyler Conklin, I don't think he watches, but congrats on the sex, man.
Yeah. So Tyler Conklin out with the kid, Corley out because he's been out pretty much every week.
More inactives than receptions.
Newman, McGregor, Jalen Simpson, DJ Reed, and Eckel. So that means Quantez Stiggers will get his first career start.
Yeah, good for Stiggers. I'm just still surprised they didn't put in. I mean, I guess they brought up Brendan Smith from the practice squad, so I guess you could say that.
That segue was good, right? That segue was good. So that's what you're gonna see come when I host in a few weeks. Guest host, my segue skills.
There we go, Doug.
Guys, again, who gives a crap about today? I hope you enjoy your Sunday. Hopefully the football is good today. We know it won't be for the Jets at least, but yeah, have a great Sunday afternoon.
You too, Doug. Appreciate the call.
All right. Yeah, so you're a little bit more surprised than I am that Malachi Corley is inactive.
I just thought with Conklin out, then I forgot they elevated Brandon Smith from the practice squad. But still, with Conklin out, I'm surprised they didn't throw in an extra pass catcher, especially like the season's over too now.
This is not trending.
And by the way, I do not like Malachi Corley. I said it over the summer. Let me reword that. It's not that I don't like him. I just think fans had such high expectations for him entering the season. I was viewed as like the bad guy during training camp in the preseason, saying that he's not going to have a great year. And people were going, "Are you kidding me? He's going to have 800 yards, 700 yards. He's going to be a huge red zone target, the Yak King." And now he has he's been inactive more games than receptions he's recorded. So, and this is someone the Jets traded up for, and they were trying to get into the second round for him. So I don't even know.
Yeah, unfortunate is what it is.
They don't know how to utilize talent. I guess that's the point. Like, what is the negative of putting Malachi Corley in right now, Matt? I guess that's my point. Who would you rather see, him play or Brendan Smith from the practice squad?
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with that point. I just don't think the Jets think that Corley's ready. Again, like I'm not saying that's the right way to look at it or the wrong way to look at it. I just think that's where they are right now.
Yeah, I guess my reaction should have been more disappointed than surprised.
Okay.
I guess that's I think I kind of went with the surprised reaction. I probably should have went with the disappointed reaction there, because that's more how I feel.
Understand.
You ready to go back to the phone lines, Matt?
Yeah, pull another one.
Let's go. So we got William, Jacob, and V-Man all on the line. Let's go to our guy William first during the show.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Yeah, this is my first time calling in, so I'm kind of nervous, but I've been a Jet fan almost as long as Joe Beningo has.
Oh, wow.
And so I've seen it all. And I'm just very frustrated and very angry and disgusted because, this is typical Jets. And I just want to say this. I'm putting in my 2 cents.
Yep.
I think that as far as head coach, they bring in anybody else but Rex Ryan. And I'm telling you, I'm telling you guys, I'll give it 2 years, 3 years tops before you guys will be sitting in those chairs saying this head coach sucks. We got to get him out of here. He stinks. He's no good. And I'm telling you, and I know you think I'm crazy. What the hell is this guy? He's insane. What the hell is he smoking? I know. But because I'm saying this is because Rex Ryan and Tannenbaum has given this team the more success since Weeb Eubank. And I don't understand for the life of me why after 2010 they break up the band. I mean, you bring a team to 2 AFC championship games in a row. And what's their response? Well, let's start firing them. Let's get rid of the band. Let's break up the players and all that stuff. Well, I think, in my personal opinion, I think he's the best guy for the job because he's passionate. He knows his stuff. He's learned from his mistakes. And I think he's the best guy. And I'll tell you what, he come in here, he'll straighten out this team in 5 minutes. And I really believe in him, and I think that he's the best guy to do it. And as far as Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, he never should have came here. I think it was a big mistake bringing him in here because I'll tell you what, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, he's brought here for 2 reasons. 1, so he can make himself a big fat paycheck before he retires, and 2, to sell tickets and to sell merchandise. I mean, this bullshit about, he's going to make the playoffs. Oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, right. Now, I know it's not all his fault, but let's face it. I mean, in my opinion, too, just my opinion, the guy's a washed-up has-been. That's it. He's not the way he was when he was with the Packers. With the Packers, he walked on water.
Who should they have brought in instead, would be my question to you. After 2022, what direction did you want to see the Jets go at quarterback?
I don't know. I mean, anybody. I mean, why can't? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Why can't they draft a quarterback or 2, get the right coaching, and allow these guys to, God forbid, become a franchise quarterback for the team? And what's wrong with that? Other teams do it. I've seen other teams, they draft quarterbacks, they get the proper training, the proper coaching, and some of them have led their teams to Super Bowls. And some of those have led their teams to more than one. Why can't we do that?
There hasn't been a quarterback in these recent drafts that have really been this huge boom that we expected them to do. I guess you could point to Jaden Daniels in this year's draft, who's having success. But look at the past few years, other than really Daniels, who it's still early as he's starting to develop. But there hasn't been a quarterback really in the first round. These big names who's really gone crazy. Perfect example is the class that the Jets took Zach Wilson in. Trevor Lawrence, he's got this huge extension, but he's unproven. Justin Fields has put together a few nice starts. Mac Jones, he's starting today, but he hasn't done he really hasn't done anything. So it's, the quarterbacks haven't really been big hits these past few years. And I guess, the thing with Aaron Rodgers, I feel like it's easy to say that we didn't want Aaron Rodgers, especially now that he's failing this much now. But I guess there was no other backup plan. I think the Jets would have been – I don't think they would have been better off with Derek Carr. He's a mess right now, and he's hurt, but he's been a mess in New Orleans with his time there. And about Rex Ryan, I know he had brought the team to 2 straight AFC Championship games, but quite frankly, I think Eric Mangini did a lot, with building those rosters that ended up going to the AFC Championships. And you have to keep in mind Rex's final seasons of coaching in the NFL. First off, he last coached in 2016, which is a long time ago, and he struggled. His last few seasons, 7-8. 8-8, and then his last season with the Jets, 4-12. In 2013, he was 8-8. 2012, he was 6-10. So we still have to keep in mind here that although he took us to 2 straight AFC Championship games, he's been out of the coaching sphere for a long time now, and he struggled mightily at the end of his run.
What, with the Jets? Yeah, well, because
and the Bills. As far as the Jets go, yeah, because they broke up the band. They got rid of Tannenbaum and brought in Isaac, who was a real success, and then the whole thing with Tim Tebow and all that other crap. But in fact, look what happened when you broke up the band, right? Look what happened after 2010 when you broke up the band there. How successful we were after that. I mean, come on, man. But I'm just saying, in my personal opinion, what do I know? But it's just the fact that I really believe in him, and I think that if they brought him back here, well, I'll tell you something else too. If he was coaching this team this year, we would not be 3-10. I'll tell you that. I don't think we would be at all. But that's just my opinion, and I just hope he can get back here because you know how it is with this Jets too. We have a revolving door with the head coaches and with the general managers. There's a revolving door. We keep replacing them every few years. It's like it's somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, bottom line to me is, let's just get it fixed, please. I mean, it's been 56 years, guys. 56 years since we've seen a Super Bowl. 14 years, the longest drought in North American sports. I mean, when is this going to end? When are we going to get the right people in here anyway? You know what I'm saying? I mean, whoever they get as general manager and whoever they get as head coach, please let them be reputable. Let them have credibility. Let them really seriously turn this franchise around. Because speaking as a Jet fan since the late 60s, I'm sick and tired of losing. I'm sick and tired of it. And this is an embarrassment. This is crazy. And if I, I mean, I don't know. I just think that whoever they get, the other thing too is, it comes to mind when they get a new general manager and coach, and if they're reputable, is Woody Johnson going to stay out of their way and let them do their job? Or is the guy going to keep, interfering all the time, saying, oh, I want to fire this guy or hire that guy, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's the other thing, too. Because if they get anybody who's really good as general manager and head coach, are they going to go to Woody and say, look, we want total control. Stay away. Leave us alone. Let us do our job. I mean, is that going to happen, too? You know what I'm saying?
It's a fair question because I think that's what needs to happen in order for the Jets to have success. I think Woody Johnson and ownership has to stay out of the way, hire football people, and let them make their decisions on the team and the roster.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Because I think that's going to be one of the things when, Rick Spielman, Mike Tannenbaum, and Woody Johnson are all in the same room interviewing these general manager candidates. I think the one thing, if you want to, attract a well-known general manager, someone who has a proven track record of having success, is I think the main thing is, hey, I'll come here, but you have to let me do my job. The second you come in my way, you start meddling, I'm out of here. So I think that's going to be one of the things they're going to want to be calling the shots. And that's why I think even if Aaron Rodgers does come back next season, he's going to have no say in any decision-making whatsoever because this new regime is going to come. What do you guys think the chances really are of Aaron Rodgers coming back? I think they're really slim to none right now, especially with the cap ramifications if he were to return. next season. But I think the new GM, the new head coach, they're gonna have all the power. And I think the Woody Johnson, Aaron Rodgers, running the ship, that the Aaron Rodgers experiment failed. I think that's the only way.
Yeah.
I think the Jets just have to bite the bullet, cut them, eat all the dead money next season, and move on.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not working.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And again, like I was saying, the new GM and the new head coach, like you said, they have to have full control and let them do their job. But the thing is what are you going to abide by that? Or is he going to still be a Budinsky and, and interfere and stuff like that? Because like you said, if he's going to do that and not let them do their jobs and rebuild this team and get it going, then what's the sense,
Yeah.
So, but in any case, my vote's for Rex. That's me. And but whoever they bring in, again, guys, whoever they bring in, just let them get this team turned around, because we got the talent. We got great talent on this team, and so we just needs guys, the right coaching, the right guys to motivate and all that. And my vote is for Rex, but whoever it is, please, because like you said, are you going to see a playoff game, before you're 18? Listen, I've been waiting for 14 years for a playoff game. I've been waiting 56 years for a Super Bowl, and it hasn't happened yet. So, you know what I'm saying? So, in any case, you got to just pray to God that they get the right people in here and get this franchise turned around. Because, to tell you the truth, I'm getting sick of this, and I'm numb right now. I have no expectations until I see positive progress. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because every start of the season, like this season, beginning of the season, oh, Aaron Rodgers is healthy now. Aaron Rodgers is going to do this. Oh boy, we're going to the Super Bowl. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, and nothing. So again, you want me to believe? Let's see it. Don't talk about it. Do it. And let's get the right people in here. That's the main thing. And let them do their jobs, Woody. Okay? Just stay out of their way and let them do their jobs. Okay?
There we go. William,
that's all I got to say, guys. Thank you very much for your time. You're doing a great job.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Great first call there, Matt. I just want to, before we get back to the phone lines, obviously, thoughts on the kind of the Rex take there. We didn't get you worked in.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest bring Rex back guy. I do think it'd be fun. Even if it didn't work, it'd be fun to have him back in the mix. I just want to go with someone who's had a proven success at this league a little bit more recently than Rex Ryan in 2010. So that's basically my take on it. Mike Vrabel's my number one option. I would like to bring him in. I think what he was able to do in Tennessee, getting those teams to make a couple of deep playoff runs with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, I think he would be the best option.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, Matt, you ready to go back to the phone lines?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go to our guy, Jacob B., who's joining us here on the show. Jacob, how you doing?
How's it going? I'm also a first-time caller, so
great to have you.
What really makes me laugh, honestly, about this is people like Connor and kind of some other smaller creators. It was this season that kind of introduced me to most of you. I've followed Matt for quite a long time, so I would say that's kind of the ringleader of bringing me here. And I just laugh because I always just laugh with my friends because I live in central Illinois. So the first question that's asked is like, why are you a New York Jets fan?
Exactly.
And it's often a question that I wish I could answer differently. But like, long story short, 2008 to 2010, I'm 24 now. So around then I was kind of, 9, 10, really impressionable. So around then, obviously, that's when we had what I didn't know would be kind of our only success in that time. But watching the Jets, and that was kind of when the Celtics were going to stuff, and I just kind of made all these ties. I'm a very loyal bandwagon fan, I will say. But yeah, no, like I said, I think it's funny that William called first, just because I would say, outside of another topic I'll bring up, that Rex Ryan piece is probably something that really, I don't know how I feel. My
Okay.
head tells me that I want Rex just because that's when we last had success. Like, that's kind of how I really look at it. That's what my head tells me. But there's just something about that man when he gets on his ESPN and whatever. He does have the passion for it, and I do think there's something to be said for that. I think there's a variable of that could really help this organization. But I just also feel like, there's only so much that raw is going to take you. And I feel like, let's just say, for example, if we went with Rex and then tried to go with the Rodgers way and try to go through and finish this out one more year of the hoorah, I just feel like, man, it would be great if it does work. What the hell will happen if it doesn't work? is
Exactly.
is the piece of it for me. So, um, other than that, I'll kind of let you two weigh in on that. But the biggest piece I wanted to talk about before hopping off is, I think what's really interested me this season is seeing how divided we are on Joe Douglas now that he's no
Yes.
longer a part with us. I do think, there's just so many things, and that's what this franchise has always been. I just feel like there's variables. There's always nuance. There's something that we fight that it doesn't seem like a lot of other franchises do. And, whether I think he was great or not, I just have to look at it as he had 6 years. Not a lot was done in 6 years. Like, I can't defend 7-9 being your best season. So I kind of know how Matt feels about Joe. I've watched a lot of his videos, but Connor specifically, where are you at with it? Like, on all that.
Yeah, so Jacob, I think there were three primary reasons as to why Joe Douglas got fired. First, he was really, we're starting to see the offensive line with some stability now, but really, the first 3 or 4 seasons he was here, he was unable to, have, build a stable offensive line. Now we're finally seeing that here, which he can get credit for. He made some really nice offseason additions. Morgan Moses has been, he's been
Yes,
playing through injury.
he's
John
been great.
Simpson should be a Pro Bowler. I think he's one among the best guards in football this season. Joe Tippmann was a great draft pick. AVT is incredible when he's healthy and he's on the field. Tyrod Smith, that signing obviously didn't work out, but Olu Fashion, who got us, he stepped up big time for the Jets on, but in both tackle positions, really. So not being able to build a stable offensive line during his first few seasons here, the Zach Wilson pick, and not having a backup plan last season when Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers went down, and not having a backup quarterback who was able to go in, because Jacob, Matt, and myself, we all know that if we had Tyrod Taylor last season, if we had even maybe even a Jameis Winston, I think
Mhm.
that last year's team could have gone to the playoffs. I think that's just how good they were with that elite defense, losing these heart-wrenching games in the final seconds, whether it was the Week 3 game last year against the Patriots, the
Mhm.
Raiders game, the Falcons game. You could just point to so many in there already. That's 3 games where you'd be 10-7 instead of
Yep.
7-10. And then this year it's the story of the whole kicking fiasco, penalty yards, firing your head coach and general manager in the middle of the season. So I guess back to the main point is I think those are the three main reasons Joe Douglas got fired. And he did everything he could to put this team in position to win, really. But when all is said and done, I think his record was 27-56
Yeah.
entering the season. Let me get his final record now. Yeah, 30-66 was his final record with the team. And when all is said and done, you could put the team as do your best job to put them in position to win. You're only as good as your record is, though. And when
Yeah,
your record's 30
exactly.
and 66, there's no reason as to why you should still have a job. My thing, though, if you're going to fire the head coach and general manager, I think you got to do it before the season starts. Doing it in the
Mhm.
season, it almost never works. So when Robert Saleh, he started 2-3. It's not like he started 0-5, and Woody Johnson announced that he was going to keep Saleh and Douglas before the Christmas Eve game last year. I guess what his thought processes should have been, if he was even considering firing head coach in season, is if this guy, Robert Saleh, gets off to an 0-5 start, am I going to trust him to turn it around, or am I going to fire him? And it wasn't even an 0-5 start to the season. It was a 2-3 start. There were ugly losses, but it was still a 2-3 start, which isn't an awful record, especially given what the AFC's looked like this season. So I think, when all said and done, it was the right decision to get rid of Douglas, but not in season.
I agree, and I think like that's where I mostly kind of fall with Saleh too. Is just like
Yeah.
I do, I don't think was he the biggest problem for this season. I think it's easy to say now in hindsight, no, but I don't know what we did or didn't see with Saleh before this season. If we really felt like he was a big problem of this team not being where we need to be, I would have liked to think we have had a big enough sample size to make that decision beforehand, and that's kind of how I feel on Saleh all in all is just I think the man projected and he put his fingerprints on this team the best he could. He was a stout defensive coordinator. I think in his time here, he really did do a good job of changing that side of the ball for us. But just in terms of, the leadership and in terms, I've heard Matt bring this up a lot, and it really does. I don't know if bothers the right word, but just it's the same. Let's look at the tape with Olbrich. It's just like
we'll take a hard look.
like you just go and it's like the same thing of I'm not worried whatsoever. We're gonna get this go. It's like when
When are you gonna be worried?
Well, it's just like we're gonna get this get this figured out and stuff. And then I still think one of my most frustrating Jets losses I've ever been a part of was. I can't remember if it was last year or first year with Wilson, but we lost that Patriots game 6-3 when they returned it. I think, and we were down.
No, that was terrible.
Awful.
Yeah.
And Wilson, they said someone asked him, "It was like, do you feel bad for the defense at all? Do you feel you let the defense?"
Yeah, that
down?"
was that game. That's
he
right.
said,
Yeah,
no.
That was the end of Zach Wilson.
I
Or
agree with
that.
that.
He knew he was not built
forever and move on after
Yeah.
that.
Well, real quick before I hop off, I still think probably one of my favorite memories from this season was a cold, wet, angry Matt after speaking of Patriots, after our loss this season to them. And I don't remember who you were on the phone with, but it just made me laugh. You had said, I don't know, what do you say to a team that just lost to a different team that lost 3 straight and their head coach called soft the week before we played them? And just some of that is just this franchise, the history we have. You got to laugh, I think, before you cry to some of it. But I think real quick before I go, the biggest thing that people are not thinking about to add a positive spin is even though it's been a dumpster fire, like there is talent on this roster. So I do think that people look at us as the laughing stock we are and just kind of think, who's going to want to go there and this and that. I think what you say, Connor, is very important. I think if the leadership that we can find, hopefully towards kind of the top of the coaching search, if we can get someone in there who's not afraid to say, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to approach it and why, and they're not allowed to, I think that has to be the biggest piece. If that is involved with this new coaching regime, I think that we have a really good shot to have a positive product. I do. It's just a matter of if, like always. So.
Yeah. I guess I think you pretty much nailed it right there, Jacob, and we really appreciate the call here. You got any final thoughts?
No, I don't have anything else. I hope you guys have a good holiday season. I agree with who our first caller was. A tie would be the best, I think the most entertaining way to make today's game work. But I don't even know where I'm at. I don't know if I want to lose. I don't know if I want to win. I think if we are to win, can it be convincingly? Like, give me what I wanted to see when it mattered, I guess. Like, give me just something to kind of hang my hat on. But, a 10-7 win against Jacksonville doesn't really do it, so. But yeah, no, as always, I appreciate you guys and what you do. And it's fun to be a part of a community, like I said, when you're nowhere near where stuff gets played. So I'm hoping to go kind of catch something next year. My grandpa and I have talked about getting that way at some point. So yeah, but all right, guys, you guys have a good one.
Appreciate it, Jacob.
Thanks, Jacob.
Great stuff.
Yeah, good stuff as always. Love checking in there. And
absolutely.
We have another special guest waiting on the line here.
Connor. Yeah, we got a few.
Let's go out to Linus and V-Man. Linus, what do you think? What do you think about the Jets, bud?
I don't know. But they're taking tired. So he asked me to come on for him.
Linus, did you want Bill Belichick to coach the Jets? What'd you think of him calling up the Jets?
No, he smells.
Good take.
No, I like Mike because Mike is a nice name.
Mike Vrabel.
Yes. All right, I think that's enough of that.
Yeah.
What's going on,
I,
Dino?
I couldn't do that for much longer. You know what? It's gonna be a miserable football game, so we just need something to lighten the mood.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What is your expectation for today? Do you think the Jets somehow come out and get out of Jacksonville with a win? What do you think happens here?
I really don't know, honestly. It could go either way. It's like, well, it could be, the Jets are just so bad that they're just going to find a way to lose even to the worst team, or it's going to be like the Jets where they finally start winning when you want them to just start tanking for a draft pick, So
Yeah.
it could go either way with this team, it could go either way. So, and I do hope you see a football game before you're legal, so that way a playoff game before you're legal, because it's like, because then I'll be like in my late 30s when that happens, and that's terrifying for me.
Yeah. That's crazy though. If I could go 18 years my entire life without seeing a Jet playoff game, that's just miserable.
All right.
Matt, when you were my age, probably was that the Rex Ryan days?
I was 13 when Favre was the quarterback.
So what's that? 08?
Oh wait.
Oh
and
wait,
then,
yeah.
and then my first year in high school was the 2009, and then I was in 10th grade for 2010.
Yeah.
God, I would do anything to just watch a good football team at this age.
But
it was fun.
Yeah.
But to get back on the point with the Belichick stuff, I think that's, as Puerto Ricans would say, bochinche gossip. And then the other thing with Belichick is, and I don't get why people are like, there's so many people in this fandom that are just like really not thinking clearly. It's like stop. Like, did you see how it ended in New England? It was terrible. It's like, stop judging him based on what he did in 2003 and judge him based on what he did in 2023.
Yeah, that, and also he hasn't had sustained success in his career without Tom Brady.
That too. And the other thing is, like, do you really trust? Like, who do you like? Do you really trust? Because we know Belichick, he's just going to bring in the good old boys when he builds his staff, and that's what it's going to be, because that's the way all these old school coaches work. Like, he's not going to bring in any new, innovative offensive mind. And let's be honest, there's only one guy on the entire offensive side of the ball that he could possibly bring in who would have any semblance of faith in handling an offense, and that's if he's available, because we don't know. We think he's going to be available, but we don't know, and that's Brian Dable.
I think both Dable and Shane, Shane Schoen, stay next season.
Exactly, like I said, he's the only Belichick guy that you could sit here and say you trust him to run an offense, because we saw this guy turn Josh Allen from like wild raw quarterback into MVP candidate. So that's the only guy he would trust. Meanwhile, like, you look at Mike Vrabel, 2 of his OCs he hired became head coaches, and so it's like, you look, he knows how to build a staff. I trust him building an offensive staff, and yeah, he's a player's coach, but he's also accountable. He has the best of all. He gets along well with his players. He relates with them. He connects with them. But he's also going to hold them accountable, chew them out. When they screw up, and that's the type of coach that we need. And
I agree.
And then the thing is, what people don't realize is that we don't need. What I think the Jets need most of all, more than just an offensive coach or defensive, they need a guy who can stabilize the Jets, who can bring accountability, bring a culture, and set this team up for even like post them if that scenario comes to pass. It's like the way Parcells did, because Parcells came in here, this organization was a dysfunctional mess, and he built that foundation that lasted all the way up until the early 2010s. Because that whole stretch, that 2000, 2010, was all because of him coming in here in 97. That's what it was. We remember that. So that's what you need. That's what Vrabel can do. He can stabilize this franchise that I don't know if there's another coach out there right now that can do that. And
I don't think so.
Like I'm
I-
just
the guy, if you're looking for the guy who's closest to Bill Parcells, I think it would be Vrabel with his proven success. No one else that they could hire
Yeah.
would have the same amount of proven success.
That's what Chris Sims called him. He called him Bill Parcells Jr. on the Dan Levitard show not too long ago. I don't
yeah,
think.
no,
I mean, Vrabel's he's won Coach of the Year award. So I think there's several reasons as to why Vrabel is the best option here. The question is Vrabel going to want to come here and coach this team? And Rich Cimini did report that he said Vrabel said he would come here if he approves of the general manager hire. That's why, like Matt and I mentioned at the top of the show, steer clear of a guy like John Robinson, who Vrabel had a falling out with. So
yeah, I agree. Like I agree. You gotta. Look, I think he's got to be your top. He's got to be the guy He's got to be at the top of your board when it comes to coaches. So you got to find out who he likes, and just narrow your list of GM guys down to that. Because I think, like I think like I said, there's other intriguing options, but like I said, like the Jets need that stabilizing factor in this team because that's been the problem with Jets. It's been instability for the last.
Especially on the offensive side of the ball too. Like the defense has shown flashes of stability over the years. We haven't had offensive stability. I mean, you could point to the 2015 season with Ryan Fitzpatrick, but really since the Rex days, the 09-010 with Mangini, his first season, that's when the Jets really last saw offensive stability with Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, no, it's just frustrating, man.
Yeah, absolutely. But
yeah.
V-Man, we appreciate the call here today, and hopefully, the game today is at least somewhat exciting. We see the young stars ball out, and it gives us, something to watch and something to root for really today.
Yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely, V-Man, great stuff as always. Appreciate you all sticking with us. Over 100 of you watching here across our platforms. Make sure you subscribe to both of our channels. Smash the like button at Matt O'Leary NY at NY Flight Jets Talk. Let's go back to the phone lines. You got our guy Alan joining the show. And Alan, I saw you were on the match game today. I watch it before the pregame show every single week, but obviously I can't watch the whole thing because we're on over here. How'd the match game go? Who won?
It went really well. Unfortunately, I actually think the Jets are going to win today. As much as I'd like them to lose today, I actually think they're going to win today. Even though Mac Jones, I believe, is 5-0 in his career against the Jets. I think he is.
Yes.
Honestly, I want them to lose today for certain reasons. I just don't want all these Aaron Rodgers truthers to really get their hopes up about him coming back next year. He came here before the 2023 season. Unfortunately, got hurt 4 plays last year, into last year, and he's been ineffective this year. So I don't want a year 3. I want them to blow it up. Honestly, I would love them to take the $49 million hit, take his Green Bay buddies with him. Look at 2025 as a transitional year, and eye towards 2026. As much as people talk about the talent we have on this team, I think it's a little overhyped. I think there is talent, but I just don't think we have the quarterback to win going forward. So honestly, I'd rather have them go 3-14, and maybe they can fall into the Cam Ward sweepstakes, or maybe they can settle in at pick 4, 5, or 6 and draft the Mason Graham to sit him next to Quinn and Williams. Couple of comments.
Sure.
First of all, as far as the coach and the GM is concerned, let me go back to Saleh and Douglas. I didn't want Saleh to come back this year, so I know a lot of people are looking back and saying, "Oh, they fired him prematurely at week 5 after week 5." Do I think anything would have been any different? Maybe they would have won 1 or 2 more games. I just don't see Robert Saleh as the guy that really would have saved this season. Trust me, I don't think Jeff Ulbrich is a head coach, and he's proven that he can't head coach. And as far as the GM is concerned, I lost all respect for Douglas when the owner basically fired his number 2 guy and his number 3 guy went to the Chargers. So you're thinking to yourself, you don't have your 2 main henchmen next to you in Chad Alexander and Rex Hogan. If I was him, I would have said, F this, I'm out of here. I wouldn't have even come back this year. I know it seems like he pretty much came back with a paycheck in mind rather than an idea of excelling this season. So honestly, I think it's best that they're both gone. As far as who I'm looking forward to, as far as head coach and GM is concerned, I'd love Rabel. You know my love towards Ben Johnson, but there's no chance in hell that he'll take this job. Um, as far as Rabel is concerned, the only way he would take this job is if they give him complete autonomy of this roster and hand picking the GM. I truly believe it's going to be Agnew and Glenn leading this charge going forward. I think it's the safe pick. I think Aaron Glenn would love this job. Aaron Glenn played here for years. Do I think it's the sexy hire? I don't, but I think um, he'll have respect from the locker room based on the fact that he played here and he was an all pro here. But I think it's most important to see who he'd bring in as an offensive mind. Hopefully, it would be maybe a guy like Tanner Engstrand, who's a
Yes.
passing game coordinator. But again, if Ben Johnson leaves and goes to the Bears, I think Detroit elevates him as their OC. I think the most important thing is to see who the offensive mind is. As much as I think that Aaron Glenn's going to be the guy, Liam Cohen's a guy that intrigues me just based on the fact that a lot of people have been talking him up, and he has really resurrected Baker Mayfield's career down in Tampa Bay. So maybe a Mike Greenberg and a Liam Cohen combination
Spytech.
works, or a John Spytek as well. But um, as far as what I hope for going forward, I don't know who I want as my quarterback in 2025. I don't really particularly care for the draft class. I don't think a guy like Drew Aller is a guy that I have a lot of confidence in him. I think he should stay in school, honestly. I'm looking more in 2026. So 2025 for me is a transitional year, honestly. So if that means that maybe a Sauce gets traded, or maybe Garrett Wilson's fed up and they deal him, so be it. Unfortunately, I might be in the minority here. If I'm Garrett Wilson and I see that I'm going to be playing with my third quarterback in 4 years, I might want out. I might say, you know what, F this. I want to get out of here. I want to play for a winner. So
I was going to
that's just
ask
my
you
thought.
when you brought up earlier in your call, blow it up. Did that includes guys from the 22 class? You would say, and moving
It
on from?
is honestly, I wouldn't give either of those guys away. Again, if someone calls and offers a 1 and a 3 for Sauce, I'd actually think about it and
Hmm.
maybe draft a Will Johnson to replace him. As far as Garrett's concerned, I wouldn't trade him unless it's a blockbuster move. Maybe a team like the Chargers calls and asks for Wilson, and maybe they offer 2 first rounders plus. But again, I don't know going forward if I really have a lot of confidence in these 22 guys wanting to stay here, knowing that we're going to have a new quarterback going forward. That's
Yeah.
the honest truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the Aaron Glenn, Ray Agnew combination put potentially next year for the head coach GM job. Rich Samini reported that Glenn is, quote, very interested in the job. Who would you prefer, Alan? Aaron Glenn and Ray Agnew, or Aaron Glenn and John Dorsey? Because I'm a huge John Dorsey fan. You know what he's shown as a talent evaluator, his record as a general manager. He has a ton of experience as the actual general manager of a team compared to someone like Agnew, who's done great things over in Detroit and in LA with the Rams, but he's never been a GM before in his career. Who would you prefer, Dorsey and Glenn, or Agnew and Glenn?
I just feel like Agnew has gotten dirty over the last couple of years being a pro scout in Detroit. I know his son is a pro scout here with the Jets, so I think he has the resume working under Brad Holmes in Detroit, a guy who really helped build their trenches, both their offensive and defensive line. So I would be intrigued by Agnew and Glenn. Hopefully, Glenn can steal one of those safeties away from Detroit, and maybe he can come here to the Jets. But um, I don't know if it's the sexiest pick, but I think it's the most likely pick. As far as people wanting Rex Ryan, I think the circus has left town, and I really don't want to revisit it, honestly. Rex Ryan talks up a good game, but all I remember is the last few years he was here as the head coach, and it was just an absolute clown show. Again, his first 2 years were great, but after that, he wanted too much input in player personnel. I remember again the Quentin Copel's pick over Chandler Jones, and I don't really forget that. So please no Rex Ryan. I would approve of an Aaron Glenn. I'd love a Mike Vrabel, but I don't know if this organization is ready to hand him full autonomy and full reign of the roster and GM choice. So
I think that's fair.
Absolutely. Alan, appreciate the call. And you said the Jets are going to win. Do you have a score prediction? Is it going to be a tight game, low scoring, high scoring, or is it going to be a blowout?
I think it's going to be an ugly game. I say 27-17. I can see a tack-on touchdown at the end. I don't know what the weather is, but unfortunately, I think the Jets will win game number 4 today, and they will drop into pick number 9. And outside of a top 7 pick, which unfortunately in this draft will fall them in the tight end class, honestly. So, but I appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot. Okay.
Of course,
Thanks,
Alan. Appreciate the support as always. Hope you enjoyed today's game. We have about 45 minutes left until game time, and we have 3 callers left. Matt, ready to power through these last 3 calls?
Yeah, let's rip it.
Let's go to our guy, Barney Miller, on the line. Barney, what's going on?
What's up, guys? You hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Awesome. I'll be quick because I know you got other guys waiting. First of all, it's funny that I follow what's his name? Alan, yeah, because I'm as positive. I'm one of those crazy positive fans as he is negative.
Okay.
Like I'm never for Tank because Jet wins are just. I've been, I'm 50 plus. Jet wins are just too rare. So if there's, I want them to win the preseason. I always root for this. That's one thing. As far as the coaches go, I'm kind of in sync with most of the callers. Vrabel is number 1. Aaron is number 2. And I still put Rex on the list because the one thing about Rex, and the main thing I want to talk about is Woody, is I think Rex, because he's been here before, he would actually be able to say no. We needed someone in the last couple of years to be able to say no to Aaron. Now we need someone to say no to Woody. Like when Woody goes, why don't you sit the safety? But no, shut up, Woody. You're not, I decide who starts, not you. It's just go back to your helicopter or whatever. So that's where I am with the coaches. And just another thing on the coaches, I think whoever we get, it can't be an old school Belichick, Sean Payton, like just do your job. Yeah. Punch him in the face, Bear Bryant, like kind of, but it also can't be the Salah, the new age. Oh, I love my players more than I love my wife. You can't have that either. You need someone in the middle. I think Vrabel, I think Aaron and even Rex, I kind of fits that bill. Rex has a nice mix of the old. I love my players, but I'm gonna bench him if they screw up the kicker missed the field goal. No, he's out. Like he wouldn't have hesitated the way Salah did. But here's my bigger thing. I want to talk about Woody. Everyone's like, I'm not a Woody fan. I would love it if he sold the team, but he's probably gonna just leave it to his kid, which is a brick. The other brick. It's gonna be worse. Can you imagine? Oh my God. Then I'd probably take this off. But Woody. Here's the thing, and everyone says, "Oh, Woody really wants to win." You listen to Tannenbaum and Rex, and they're trying to work with him again. So obviously they're going to kiss his butt. They go, "Oh, no one wants to win more than Woody." Wanting to win, we all want to win. Every fan, every team, every player, wanting to win is not enough. You have to want to build something. The Pittsburghs, the New Englands, the San Franciscos, they are patient. And I know we were patient with Joe Douglas 6 years, 5.5 years, but we kept switching the coaches. We keep switching the quarterbacks, blah, blah, blah. It's like you have to want to build something. And I think Woody, especially the way he fired the coach, which I think it was a mistake, he's so like impatient. He just cares about social media and getting the big splash and getting on the front page. And, if the Giants do something, he's got to do something. It's all he's too much about winning the moment or winning the offseason than building something and really being patient, taking years, and just hey, I don't think he should have fired Rex. Rex, it's then they had a couple bad years. So what? So keep him. So work through the bad years. That's the way it goes. It goes up and down. That's the way the parody of the NFL is. It's just little changes. So that's my thing. So go Jets. I want them to win. I think they're going to win today. I think they're going to win I think they're finally going to hit 30, which Aaron's
Wow.
been talking
Would
about.
be nice. They
Yeah.
haven't
Well-
done it yet. Would be nice.
Well,
No,
think about
no.
it. They've kind of gelled. The offense is kind of gelled. They've played well the last couple weeks. He's got his O-line. He's got all his running backs. Isn't Breece playing? Breece
Breece
isn't
is
out.
active today. Yes,
He's
Conklin's
active.
out though, but he hasn't made much of an impact.
Yeah,
this season.
I think it's Eboa is playing, right?
Yep.
Yeboah will play.
Kuntz
Yeah.
will play. Oh, Rucker. Yeah, Rucker's going to get a ton of snaps today, and hopefully.
Yeah,
he'll
but
get a ton of
hopefully he's just
football.
blocking because he's just
Yeah.
butterfingers all year. But all right, that's all I got to say. I'll let you talk to someone else. But
Thank you, Barney.
Barney,
Rock
appreciate
and
the
roll.
call. I will say something you mentioned, trying to build something. I think the whole thing that led to the Aaron Rodgers experiment was the unexpected 7-10 season in 2022, where Woody realized, all right, these rookies are good. We have an elite defense. We get a quarterback in here. This team is gonna go to the playoffs. So I think that's the mentality that kind of led to taking the Aaron Rodgers shortcut, so to speak, rather building and trying to get something out of Zach Wilson.
I'm with you.
Yeah, because what were your expectations, really, Matt, for that season,
Going into
2022?
22, I thought they would be they ended up finishing 7-10, but we know they got off to a 7-4 start. I thought they'd win about 6 or 7 games that year.
I thought they were going to win about 4 or 5. I didn't have high expectations, especially coming off what we saw in 21.
Yeah, I thought Zach would play better because if you remember in 21, he finished the season on a little bit of a higher note. And
Yeah.
then he gets hurt in the preseason, comes back, has a big comeback drive against Pittsburgh, and then never really felt like
that
he
was
hit
such a fun
stride.
game, and that was such a fun game. That Pittsburgh
It
game.
was.
There were a few fun Zach games, like the Pittsburgh game, the Titans game in 21. I think that was.
Yep.
21. I think he threw for over 300 that game. So there were some fun Zach games sprinkled in there, but I think that 2022 season is really what led Woody to bring in, Aaron Rodgers and try to go all in for this 2-year window. We have about 40 minutes left until kickoff. 2 more callers left on the line. Let's go out to our guy Cash Out, who's up. How you doing, man?
What's going on? Can you guys hear me?
We got you loud and clear.
Excellent. First of all, I want to thank you guys for all that you do, man.
Appreciate
It's
it.
really been a blessing to stay tuned in because I go on road trips and finding ways to be interested in this team is getting harder and harder, as you guys know. But so there's 2 major things that I want to talk about today and get you guys' opinion on. And they're not really, for me, it doesn't make sense to talk about individual games. To you guys more of overall season, big picture takeaways for sure. First things first, I want to keep Aaron Rodgers for 1 more year.
Okay.
Let me just make that clear. If for no other reason than our team has showed no ability to develop quarterbacks. For no other reason, if you just have that just one reason. But the other thing is watching this team, it's night and day. He doesn't have the mobility, but throwing the football, like I could not watch the team for years until now. And so that's what I want to say. And I want to ask you guys now, as I've stated, my opinion is we should stick with journeyman quarterbacks for the time being until we can develop guys. What if I were to say that there's a top 5 QB that we could potentially sit down and have a conversation with? He's tied to a franchise and, they don't want to let go of him, but he's not happy where he's at. Do you guys think it would make sense to at least sit down and talk to that QB, maybe see what he wants for money, that type of thing?
Who's the
Very,
quarterback?
very good question.
Who's the quarterback?
Just saying, like, would you be willing to say like just any of the top 5?
So like
On with him?
a Lamar Jackson, some crazy reason that he wants out of crazy reason that he wants out of Baltimore. I mean, it can't hurt though. The problem is, no matter who the quarterback is, I think eventually what the Jets do here is they start Tyrod Taylor next season, draft a quarterback, whatever round it is, whether it's a Carson Beck in the 3rd or 4th round, or whether it's a Cam Ward or a Shedeur Sanders in the 1st round. I think they start a Tyrod, a Jameis Winston, a Justin Fields, someone who's a bridge quarterback, and then they ultimately try to work the rookie in a season or two down the line. Like someone I like is Jalen Milroe, because I think he still needs to develop into a more poised passer, work on his accuracy. But you bring him in, you draft him in the second round, let him sit behind Tyrod for a year or two. I think that'll do wonders for him, and then he ultimately takes the reins in 2026 or 2027. So I think that's what the Jets do. My problem, though, is going all in. It was a great question, but my problem right now is going all in on another quarterback and, instilling all your faith in that and going through this whole, not necessarily, saga / fiasco, so to speak, what we've done with Aaron Rodgers.
I would love theoretically, if a top 5 quarterback is becoming available, of course, I would like for the Jets to be in on that guy. I just don't think that's, if you find a top 5 guy, usually you don't want to let him go. So I think that the team that has him would do whatever they can to keep that said player. But of course, in a perfect world, that yes, I would make that move, because I think having a top 5 quarterback in the league extends your winning window. I think the Jets are gonna, like Connor said, probably have some sort of bridge quarterback next year, draft a quarterback at some point. But if they don't take a first round quarterback, that doesn't then mean you have to, not take one in 26. Like if you draft, I don't know, for example, let's say Milroe at the top of the second round, and you're not seeing anything that you like in year 1, like I don't think that stops you from taking a quarterback in 2026 then, if you bottom out and you're picking in the top 5, let's say.
Yeah, my concern right now is fans instilling some sort of hope in Jordan Travis and expecting that he's able to bring you something. Quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Travis never plays a singular snap in the NFL. That leg injury he suffered last year at FSU is brutal, and you rarely see someone come back and make, some sort of comeback really from that gruesome injury. So I guess my message really there, I like the Milroe pick, but I think we can't expect to get anything out of someone like Jordan Travis, because I think there's a very high possibility he never takes a snap in the green and white or really in the NFL.
I completely agree with that. And the reason why I asked the question, and I agree with what you guys say, like what will happen versus what I would want to happen, I definitely agree. Reason I said that is because, what goes kind of unnoticed is the offseason where we got Aaron Rodgers, Lamar wanted out of Baltimore. And I'm just thinking, like, to my knowledge, a bunch of teams just didn't even, like, talk to the guy. And I'm just saying, like, I wanted Aaron Rodgers, he's my favorite QB. But at the same time, it's like, wouldn't you at least have a conversation with the guy? What harm could it do to you? So that's how I feel about it, But the other thing is this. It's hard for me to take this team seriously because we go away from stuff that works,
Yes.
All season, I'm sitting here, I'm watching every time they do I think it's called the pro set. The commentators call it the pony set with our two.
Pony formation where they have the full, two backs.
Exactly. We did it in the Patriots game, and it worked very well. And then we got away from it. And then we started the game off, I think the Seattle game, first play of the game, pony set, right? Formation.
Yeah.
And wide open receiver. Aaron Rodgers just missed him. And we don't go back.
Of the season. He's overthrown guys several times a game, week in and week out. At least last week, he seemed to be on the same page a little more often with guys like Garrett, guys like Devontae.
But my thing is this, like you're sacrificing that formation to have Xavier Gibson out there with Lazard injured. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I don't understand some of the decisions we make, and I
think,
what do you say?
I said from a personnel standpoint, 1000%. Yeah.
And how can we even take the team seriously when they still have Gibson, returning punts and kickoffs? It just, I want to keep watching, but I'm struggling.
Are you watching today?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. You have any expectations for today? Yeah, I know you wanted to focus on the future, but you think Jets come out with a win? Is it the last win? What do you think happens today?
I think we'll come out with a win. I think I didn't look at the injury report or anything, so I don't know who's out, but you gotta. I'm I'm thinking about it from the perspective that Lazard was out for 5 weeks. I know he's not, the best receiver, but he's also one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite receivers. So I think that would have made a difference with how the past, 6 weeks have gone. So it's a lot of things that I'm thinking about from an overall standpoint. Like, we're not getting blown out of games. I think run it back one more year. We've already been waiting for 14 years. If it doesn't work out, at least you try, and we have a higher ceiling, I think. And, if it don't work, then you transition.
Yeah,
But
there we go. Yeah, exactly.
make the right decision anyway. So
yeah, absolutely.
Thanks,
Well,
guys.
yeah, really appreciate the call.
God bless you.
Appreciate it and enjoy the game. Appreciate all the continued support. Two more callers left on the line here before we wrap. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channels at Matt O'Leary NY, at NY Flight Jets Talk. Appreciate all the support. 130 of you guys watching here despite this embarrassing, heart-wrenching, disappointing, whatever you want to call it, season. So 30 minutes left till kickoff. 2 callers left. Let's fire through these 2 callers. We got our guy Johnny Boy who's joining us on the show. Johnny, I saw you backstage for a little while. Thank you for sticking with us, staying on hold, and joining the show.
Oh, it's all good, man. I appreciate you both, man. Matt, what's going on? Connor, what's going on?
Not much.
You guys ready to get this dub today, baby? 42-9. 42-9.
42. Oh, God.
42. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, man. Dude, this is the Aaron Rodgers game. He's about to bring every single fan back that have said every negative thing about him. Why not? Is this not the Jets? Do the Jets not like this?
Yeah, you muted there for a second. Yeah, 1,000%. Like I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, was my concern is Aaron Rodgers is going to put something on film these next few weeks, and it's going to convince Woody Johnson to possibly bring him back and say, all right, he's played like a bridge quarterback this season. Why not bring him back? You bring him back for next season. He shows us what he's shown the first 10 or so weeks of the season. Then you're stuck in cap hell for the next 3 years. That's my main concern there.
100%. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, man. I like Aaron, man. I'm an Aaron guy, and it's trying to put that fandom aside and all that, but he has not played well. I think he's played well enough that if our defense was a lot better, it'd be a different story,
Yep.
right? Because, I mean, in the beginning of the year, I think for us and a lot of us and the fans in regards to this, we're like, we just don't need him to be Aaron Rodgers of old. We need competent quarterback play. We just need an individual that is going to not lose us the game. Yep. And it's kind of been ass backwards this year because he has lost us a couple of these games. But I don't know, man. I mean, I got this feeling today he's going to go off. I think he's going to throw for like 400 yards, 4 tutties, and just, Stiggers is going to be out there. My boy Zach Kuntz about to be catching some stuff. Connor, you were right about Malachi. I do not know why they just keep on freaking not starting him, man. It's so upsetting because you see the burst there when the ball is given to the kid, man. And who's offensive coordinator? Can they make some stuff for him, some schemes? I don't know.
Why not just replace him with Xavier Gibbs? I think it's a whole new story though if he doesn't drop that ball, that unforced error in Houston. I think it's a whole new story and from like a snap standpoint.
I don't like Gibson. I've wanted Gibson gone since we had Cordington, wherever he was in the beginning.
Yep, I called that. I said right after, I said after the Commanders game, it wasn't even the Panthers game where we went crazy. This guy is good. I remember seeing some of his highlights from college. You have to roster him. I don't care what the sacrifice is, whether it's they carried 7 wide receivers, I think it was, to start the season. Why not throw a Jason Brownlee or an Xavier Gibson on the practice squad and keep this guy? You look what he's doing in Buffalo. He's a top kick returner right now in all of football. He's had crazy 50, 75-yard returns. I think he's housed a return this season. Whether it was we
had that guy that was in the practice squad that came in one game, 99 yards.
Yeah, broke his hand.
And now he broke his hand. The Jets curse is still good, and you can't make this stuff up, man. It is difficult. And going back to the Malachi stuff real quick, I I understand about the whole like route running stuff and all that, but there's still other ways that you could get this guy the ball to where we could utilize this guy and his speed and everything like that. Because he has it, man. Over Gibson, he's a lot bigger than him. So my issue with Gibson is his size, and I felt like every single time he would get hit, that ball was always like fumbling around, man. So I was scared.
Right.
But I wanted to come up here really quickly because I saw everybody was talking about, of course, we're going to be talking probably until the hiring begins in regards to the GMs, head coaches, and stuff like that. I'm more concerned about the GMs, right? Because that's who I want first and everything. And I want the tandems, right? So like your Agnew with a Ben Johnson, right? So the whole Lions thing that they have there. The Dimitrov, right? The Falcons guy that has the stuff with Flores from the past with the Patriots things and all that. Stuff like that is what I'm looking for. But I wanted to bring this up to you, kind of to what your guy was saying before, right? Is having a good quarterback coming over here, right? So let's just say hypothetically Flores does come over here with us, right? And you have an offensive coordinator that I think will be good in Josh McCown, right?
Agree.
Bring in Josh McCown as the OC.
That's what I've been saying. Yep.
Right? And then Sam Darnold, the Sam Darnold conversation to have him come back. Would he want to come back? I think so. As a competitor, would you not want to go to the team that, you know what I'm saying, like drafted you? I mean, at least myself.
Johnny, now that look, I would say more likely than not, I don't think he does. But to give you like on your side, it's not like Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh are still here. If they were, I would say like there's 0% chance. But with those guys gone, I think that raises the percent chance a little bit higher. Again, I still personally think it's unlikely, but I would say it's more likely after moving on from Saleh and Douglas.
100%. And I agree with you. But once those guys were there, I was like, maybe there might be a glimpse of hope in regards to that. So I don't know. You know, it's a tough one. But I could tell you the head coaches I don't want. And I know this is one of the guys that's been on Connor's list that he wants. I cannot stand Kingsbury, man. I don't want Kingsbury. I don't want Joe Brady. Please,
Joe Brady.
Please no to Arthur Smith.
Yeah. Joe Brady's terrible. Like Kingsbury, at least, Johnny boy, you could understand why I want Kingsbury from what he's done developing quarterbacks, how he has head coach experience, how he's brought a team to the playoffs. Joe Brady was an absolute mess in Carolina, and now he comes to Buffalo, and while he figures out the juggernaut that is, finding Josh Allen to play at an MVP level. Wow, mind blown. So I don't think he's a head coach.
No to Arthur Smith, please, as well. Like,
at least he has experience. I'd take him over Brady.
Ball those guys up. No, I want none of them dudes, man. Like, and please no to Rex. I love Rex. I'm a Rex guy and all that, but I don't want like an ex-girlfriend to be coming back in the wings and whatnot. But and the GMs, man, the GMs, the names that have been out there, of course, Dorsey and Agnew and all of them people. But the Don Aponte one, it's kind of an intriguing one to me and all that, because Woody likes to be really flashy with stuff, and that appeal of being the first time woman GM out there and stuff like that. I mean, they had it with Connie before as being the first female scout and all that, right? Scout. So it would be interesting to see that, because she is really well respected.
Are you talking about Hickman?
Dawn Aponte.
Oh, yes, because there's Catherine Hickman from the Browns is another one.
Is there? Wow, okay. I didn't know that.
I think she's 30 too. Well, she's only 30.
But again, that's like a long shot with her and all that. I think so. I just think the appeal, because he likes to be flashy and stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, the head coaches for me: Flores, Rabel, Todd Monken. I would love Todd Monken over here, man. And Ben Johnson. If the Ben Johnson thing can really occur with the Agnew Ben Johnson tandem and all that, why not? Aaron Glenn is a fifth for me.
Okay.
And all that. But I feel like if we're going to go ahead and bring in Aaron Glenn, then we might as well bring back Jim Leonard, we might as well bring back cornerback coach Darrell Rivas, wide receiver Braylon Edwards,
Yeah.
maybe Wayne Corbett. I don't know. Just bring all the Jets from the back if we're doing that, right? Why not? But hey, I appreciate you guys. Like I said, 42-9. Jacksonville is going to get their butts beat today. This is the game that Aaron Rodgers is going to go like this and get flagged every single time, or the discount double check is coming back. But again, man, I appreciate you guys. Keep killing it, man. Matt, Connor, it's always a pleasure having you guys. If everybody go sub it up to both of you guys' channel, they bring some really good content and everything. And me and Snowball, we tried to destroy the curse, and it did not work.
Too strong.
It's too damn strong. So appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Johnny.
Johnny, appreciate the support as always. We have 20 minutes left till kickoff. One more caller left, so we're gonna have to fire through this here. We got our guy Chris G joining the show. Chris, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys, man? Thank you for taking the call. I'll be quick. I know we want to get out of here and watch the game, but I think that I heard somewhere that the loser of this game has a chance to get the first overall pick, depending on the scenarios, how that goes. I'm not really interested in any of the top quarterbacks. I like guys like Milroe and Nussheimer as projects, but I don't think
Milroe.
Yeah. And then as it says, I think Winston could play here next year. I really do like him. With a guy like Vrabel is the #1 head coaching candidate. And I know you guys were talking like bad about Joe Brady, but I've seen what he did with Alec, minimize the turnovers. I wouldn't want him as head coach, but I wonder if he would take a OC job. Probably not, but yeah.
I like Joe Brady, I think, more than Connor and Johnny do.
Yeah.
I liked it when he was hired. To be completely honest with you, I was a big Matt Rule fan, so I thought the Matt Rule and Joe Brady combo was going to work well in Carolina. But I think Joe has done a good job in each spot that he's been to. So I'm not as down on him as those two are. He's not my top choice, but I don't think I would hate it.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Brady. I like Milroe. I mentioned that earlier, Chris. Winston's an interesting one. He has the personality to be a fan favorite in New York. The thing I don't like about him, he's not very careful with the ball. He has a ton of turnovers, and he's been like that his entire career. I'd rather, use Tyrod Taylor as our bridge quarterback next season. He's already under contract with the team. He plays competitive football, even when the situation around him isn't great, and he doesn't turn the ball over. He's very careful. So, Winston, I think would be fun. It'd be a fun player to have here, but I like Tyrod more. Matt, what are your thoughts there?
Winston would be a hell of a lot of fun because he's going to have those games where he throws for like 500
yards, 6 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions.
Yeah, but look, at least he would take some chances down the field. So Tyrod, I'm a little biased towards him because I liked him going back to his Buffalo days. I like that he doesn't turn the ball over. I still think he has a good deep ball. The issues with the injuries are legit, but each one has kind of been a freaky injury after another. Like he got his lung punctured like before a game, by like one of his own his team doctors. So it's tough. He's had a tough go of it, but I've always been a Tyrod guy. I wouldn't hate it if they had Tyrod, Jordan Travis, and we'll say another rookie quarterback that they throw in with the quarterback room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like Winston because I think he could be a big help with this culture. You talked about his personality. I mean,
Fair.
Yeah, and with a good coach, I hope they can be able to minimize all the mistakes and turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, Stefanski still's an offensive genius. I just think Winston, I really don't have much more to say on him. I think it's just if he could minimize the turnovers, I think it would be a good option. I'd say personally, him and Justin Fields would probably be like the two most fun options to watch to play quarterback for the Jets next season. But I just still think it's Tyrod because that's what makes the most sense. He's already under contract with the team. He played with the Giants last year. He knows what it's like to start in the New York market. He's been with the team for now. At the end of this year, it will be 1 year. So I think they end up doing that. I wouldn't completely hate the Winston move though. But Chris, really appreciate your support and the call.
Yeah, thank you, man. Have a great day, and let's go Jets.
There we go. JTS, Jets. Hopefully, 4th win of the season, Matt. Crazy to be saying that. 4th win of the season, sitting here in week 15.
I think it's coming. I really do. Yeah. I think the Jets win today. I forget. I honestly forget what I said in my preview, but I don't know, 20-13, something like that. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as what Johnny was saying before.
Yeah, so you're going to go 20-13. I think it's going to be very high scoring. I'm with Johnny. Jets have gotten up there, and from like a point standpoint these past few weeks, give me. I'm going to pick the Jags this week. I can't pick
Really?
the Jets.
Okay.
They haven't shown me. They haven't shown me anything. Give me Jags 34, Jets 28. That's my prediction.
All right.
Jaguars win 34, Jets 28. Matt, I think this is our longest pregame show, hour and 40 minutes. We appreciate all your support. I think it's the most engagement we got from a caller standpoint, and from the chat. Of course, 15 minutes away from kickoff. Pregame show in the books. Matt, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts, just go numb and let whatever happens. Don't, if you're rooting for a win, rooting for a loss, I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So I'm going into this one kind of just numb and going to let it play out. Yeah, I think that's the correct mentality. Smash the like button, subscribe to both of our channels at Matt O'Leary NY, at NY Flight Jets Talk. Appreciate all the support. For Matt O'Leary, this is Connor Long signing off, and we will see you next time right here on the Week 16 pregame show. JTS Jets, Jets, Jets.